Now, a few years back, I was making a couple of videos talking about the menopause, and I got multiple positive comments to say that this video has been very helpful. Since then, I've learned a lot when it comes to functional medicine, nutrition therapy, and how we can truly get our bodies more resilient to stress, both male and female. Whether going through the menopause, getting older, and looking at testosterone levels, but getting our hormones to truly balance so we can really start to thrive. And on that video, I got one negative comment, and I got about 50 comments that said, this is awesome and it's really helped. But that one negative comment stopped me talking openly about the menopause and the work that I was doing with people. So when it comes to the menopause, we need to look at what actually happens with hormonal signaling. So we're going to go through a little bit of science here, and hopefully it gives you a better idea of why hormone replacement therapy is not where I start when I get clients come to me and they're in this age group where they're potentially going through the menopause, and we want to actually stop these side effects, lower them, and make sure they can totally thrive with their life to really be the high achievers that they are. Now, the first one we need to look at is our brain. We have the hypothalamus. Now, this is basically like the control panel within our brain. This gets signals from neurotransmitters where we have things like dopamine, we have things like serotonin. These neurotransmitters send messages to release a thing called gonadotropin releasing hormone. So we'll just put GRH to send a signal to your pituitary gland. Now, this pituitary gland will release something or two things that you've probably seen on when you've had blood panels or anything like that. These things are follicular stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. Now, these send signals down to your ovaries. Can you still see that? Yep. My writing is all going all over on the follicular stimulating hormone to luteinizing hormone. Now, FSH will be the thing that signals estrogen. Luteinizing hormone will be the thing that signals progesterone. Now, at one point in a female's life, the ovaries decide that we're not going to be working anymore. But we still need to get estrogen and progesterone to have good bodily function. We don't need as much, but they still need to get good estrogen production and progesterone production. Now, the problem that we have is that the hypothalamus gets a message that we're not producing estrogen or progesterone. So what we usually see is really high levels of follicular stimulating hormone, FSH, and luteinizing hormone, LH. Basically because the hypothalamus has released this GRH to the pituitary gland to say, look, we need more and more and more because we're not getting the estrogen and progesterone. So that's when we see menopausal symptoms happen. But we should still be able to produce hormones. And this goes the same for normally when the hypothalamus signals the pituitary to the ovaries. In men, you'll find that FSH and luteinizing hormone will be signaled to the testes, and that will produce sperm production and testosterone production. We need to look at these things. We also have our adrenal glands. Now, these adrenal glands should be able to take over. They make some different hormones. They make cortisol, which is a blood sugar raising hormone that no doubt you've heard me talk about when it comes to stress. They make aldosterone, which is a blood pressure raising hormone that increases the absorption of sodium. And in that, it takes water within it. But they also produce sex hormones. So we're looking at the production of testosterone, estrogen, and progesterone. Now, they're going to take cholesterol. I can't even write. They're going to take cholesterol into the adrenals, just like we need cholesterol to produce this within the ovaries. And then out that comes testosterone, comes estrogen, comes progesterone. So this is in a perfectly functioning human being when it comes to adrenal glands. So we know that if this isn't working and your adrenal glands are working, we should be able to produce. Why is my camera frozen? Video. There we go. Should be working better now. I don't know when that actually froze, but we should be able to produce the right levels of adrenal glands, of sex hormones through our adrenal glands. Then we get the majority of production of these hormones from the adrenal glands. I say we. Females get the majority of the production post-menopause and going through menopause of the production of their sex hormones through the adrenal glands. So we need these to be working. So the take-home message here is that if your adrenal glands are not functioning properly, there are going to be problems when it comes to hormone production. So what actually happens? Well, it's very common for people to have low estrogen. It's common for people to have low progesterone, low levels of testosterone as well. Women do need testosterone, and these hormones can still be converted in other tissues. So why is this going on? We have to look at when a client comes to me and they have symptoms as this. Are they healthy? Are they able to make these hormones optimally? And how do we support these adrenals? And what actually happens? Well, there could be some problems. First off, we're not having enough cholesterol. So there's production problems that we can't actually physically produce enough of these hormones because we haven't got the neurotransmitter signaling, we haven't got the cholesterol things, we haven't got the fuel, the pre-resources, the raw materials in order to do that. There could also be what we call the binding issue, is that we need these hormones to bind to something called sex hormone binding globulin, SHBG. And it binds to that to get to the places, so there it gets unbound and becomes free again where it can actually be used. Because if we didn't bind it, it would just be used to all the tissues around the adrenals or around the ovaries if we were premenopause. Now, sometimes we don't get this process right. So we don't have enough free hormone for us to actually work on. Then we look at the fact that if they have blood sugar issues, then this can create conversion problems, that there's too much testosterone being created, or there's problems like in the body. Is this happening when it comes to a client? Then one of the big things that I deal with clients is the actual clearance of hormones, the actual detoxification of the systems. Can we actually detoxify our hormones once we've used them to get rid of them for clearance? So we know then that the liver is functioning right and we utilize them, and we then know that we can then create some more. But a lot of people can't go through this. A lot of people's liver is under a high amount of load. They have problems with detoxification, and they've got a lot of toxin exposure. If we look at pollutants, we look at air quality, we look at mold within the house, we look at chemicals that we put on our skin, deodorants, perfumes, things that we have within our food, pesticides, all these different things, exposure to chemicals, to diesel fumes. All these things are making an impact when it comes to your actual hormone production. And again, like sometimes when people have hormone replacement therapy or they have too much of a hormone, this hormone that they have can't get into the cells because they've had so much. The cells have these actual receptor sites on them that they have to get this hormone to say, look, I want this hormone and I'll have that. I'll take it into the cell where I can actually do some work. But because there's been too much hormone coming in, those receptor sites have been downregulated. So that hormone is just not being able to be used. So in those cases, we usually see that, especially with the detox problems as well, that problem with actually having too much hormone, the HRT not working when the doctor's prescribed it, that is usually a case there. So we have to look at cell function. We have to look at your organelles, your mitochondria within the cells in order to really look to improve this. Then a big thing, big thing that comes up with clients that have problems when it comes to menopause with actually getting the right hormones is their gut health. There's a lot of problems with dysbiosis within the gut, with imbalances within good and bad bacteria. Now, this can undo some of the detoxification within the liver. we have something that happens called glucuronidation. And that is responsible for clearing out these hormones, a pathway that actually clears out these hormones that we've used and we want to get rid of so we're not building up. But when we have bad bacteria in our gut, now this could be from there's been an infection, it could be from poor diet, it could be from poor blood glucose management, all these different things. We produce something called beta-glucuronidase. Now, beta-glucuronidase will stop this glucuronidation, it will inhibit this. So this is very, very common, and especially in women of menopausal age, this is massive for creating hormonal imbalances. Then we look at the liver health, like again, how can we improve that? We look at balancing out blood sugar levels, and then we look at have they got the right amounts of neurotransmitters. So when we look through that, let me just rub this thing off. First off, we have to look at production. Then we look at binding. Then we can look at are we converting. Then we look at detox systems, detoxification. We end up there, we go into things like too much hormones. Maybe their history is that they had hormones earlier and now they're not able to absorb them anymore. Then we look at gut health, and we look at liver function, blood glucose. As a result, these all link into that. And neurotransmitters. And we can see that from looking at this with your hypothalamus pituitary, the signaling that goes to that, to your adrenals, we have a lot of things to look at to improve. Now, the good thing is that when we start to improve one or two of these, they actually end up, we improve a lot more. So it's not like we're just completely having to do 3-4 months on one, then 3-4 months on the other. If we get the body working optimally, if we get it the right nutrients, improve the gut health, usually the liver function improves, blood glucose improves, we get better neurotransmitter, which means we get better signaling, which means we convert the hormones right. We don't have too much hormones. We can really, really improve that. Then, only then, if we've done all these things that we know, we maybe tested, we've looked at blood results, we've looked at different functional testing and stuff like that, then is when HRT would be recommended. And you'd have to go and look at, go to your GP to look at that side of things. The problem comes is when this HRT has been recommended before, apologies for the dogs, before we've gone through all these different things, then we have further issues. Now, if you're someone that is going through menopause, or you've been frustrated, you're seeing signs that you may be about to go through, maybe you've been through stress coming up to this period, drop me a message. Let's have a chat. Go to www.ojayhealth.com/virtual coffee. There, you'll be able to just sign up for a free call with me. Let's just have a chat, see what we can do with your symptoms and see how we can help that. If you want to just sign up to my mailing list, you don't want to jump on a call right now, there is a presentation that will help you, a free presentation called Is This Burnout? It sounds different, but we go through a lot of the things that are going to help all these areas. If you go to www.ojayhealth.com/burnout, you can pop in your details there and you'll get the presentation straight away. Hopefully this has been helpful to you, and hopefully you can see that from this that HRT isn't always the option that we need when it comes to improving your hormonal balance. Have a great day.